My name is Karim, and I am 42 years old. For most of my life, I thought I understood who I was and where I was going. Born into a devout Muslim family, my days revolved around prayer, discipline, and faith. 5 times a day, I would bow in reverence, reciting the words of the Quran. The mosque was my safe place, my anchor. I memorized surahs, studied the hadith, and debated theology with anyone willing to listen. I carried pride in my devotion, convinced that through prayer, fasting, and good deeds, I was walking the straight path toward eternal salvation. Yet in the quiet of the night, when the world was asleep, small questions gnawed at me. What if my good deeds didn't outweigh my sins? What if, despite everything, I wasn't enough? I silenced those doubts quickly with more study and prayer, but they always lingered. Christianity fascinated me, but in my eyes, it was flawed. How could Jesus be the Son of God? How could salvation come as a gift and not as something earned? Grace, to me, seemed like a dangerous excuse to avoid responsibility. Then everything changed. One afternoon, while visiting my brother in another city, I felt a strange tightness in my chest. At first, I brushed it off as nothing serious. But by evening, the pain sharpened into something unbearable. My brother insisted we go to the hospital, though I protested. Within an hour, I was lying in an emergency bed with wires attached to my chest, doctors moving frantically around me. Their expressions told me the truth before their words did. I was having a heart attack. Fear gripped me. My thoughts raced. My family, my unfinished prayers, my sins. My lips whispered the Shahada, desperately clinging to what I had believed all my life. My chest felt like it was being crushed. And then, darkness. Silence. I thought death had come, but instead of nothingness, I felt awareness. I was weightless, floating. Below me, I saw my own body on the hospital bed, pale and lifeless with doctors working frantically. My brother's face was twisted in anguish as he clutched a chair, unable to help. I tried to call out to him, but no sound came. I realized I had no mouth, no body, only presence. Strangely, I felt no pain, only an eerie stillness. Am I dead? I wondered. My faith had taught me of angels, scales, and judgment, but none of that was happening. No angels, no courtroom of heaven, only me, watching. And then I saw it, a light. It was unlike any light I had ever known, not blinding, but pure. It pulsed like it was alive, radiating warmth that reached into the depths of who I was. At first, I resisted. I wanted to cling to what was familiar, the hospital room, my brother's face. But the light called to me, not with words, but with love. It drew me closer, gently but irresistibly, until all else faded away. As I entered the light, peace unlike anything I'd ever known washed over me. Every fear, every doubt, every weight I carried melted away. And then, from within the brilliance, a figure appeared. Jesus. I froze. My mind rebelled. This cannot be. In my faith, Jesus was a prophet, nothing more. But here he was, more real than anything I'd ever experienced, clothed in majesty yet radiating compassion. Waves of love flowed from him, overwhelming me. "Who are you?" I whispered, though deep down I already knew. "I am the way," he answered. His voice was not just sound, it was truth echoing through my being. I wanted to argue, to cling to what I had always believed. But then visions unfolded before me. I saw him at the Last Supper, speaking to his disciples with a love so deep it pierced me. I saw him on the cross, taking the weight of humanity's sin, and I saw him resurrected, alive with power and glory. All my life, I had believed salvation was earned, prayers, fasting, deeds carefully balanced on scales. But here, Jesus showed me something else. "It is not earned by deeds," he said. "It is a gift, given freely through faith." The word shattered me. For years, I had strived and struggled, never sure if I was enough. And now, in his presence, I realized it was never about being enough. It was about surrender. Then the light shifted. I saw another place. Darkness, emptiness, torment, souls crying out, consumed by despair. My heart broke at the sight. Why? I whispered. They chose separation, Jesus said, his voice heavy with sorrow. Hell is not my Father's wrath. It is the absence of his presence. Love was offered, but rejected. Tears filled my eyes. I knew in that moment that I had a choice. Jesus turned to me, his gaze piercing yet full of mercy. Karim, he said softly, will you trust me? Will you accept my gift and let me lead you to the Father? My heart trembled. Everything I had lived for, everything I had defended, stood on the edge of collapse. But I couldn't deny the truth. It was here, in him, not in my works, not in my striving. Yes, I whispered, my voice breaking. I trust you. And with that, his hand reached toward me. The moment I placed my trust in him, the light intensified, wrapping me in warmth and love that words could never capture. I felt lifted, carried, embraced by something greater than myself. For the first time in my life, I was free. Free from fear, free from the endless striving to be worthy. But then, just as suddenly, I felt a pull. The light began to fade, and Jesus' voice echoed, "Your journey here is not yet finished. There are people who need to hear your story. Go, Karim. Share the truth. I will be with you always." The next moment, I opened my eyes to the harsh fluorescent lights of the hospital. My chest burned, the machines beeped steadily, and doctors spoke in astonishment. "It's a miracle," one of them said. "We thought we lost him." My brother gripped my hand tightly, tears streaming down his face. But inside, I was not the same man. I had seen something beyond death. I had met Jesus. That night, as the hospital grew quiet, I lay awake replaying everything I had experienced. Doubt tried to creep in. Was it a dream? A hallucination? But no, it had been more real than life itself. I could still feel his love, his words echoing in me. When I returned home, I wrestled with fear. My identity, my family, my community, everything was tied to Islam. How could I tell them? What would they say if I confessed that I had met Jesus and accepted him as the Son of God? For weeks I kept silent, reading secretly. For the first time, I opened a Bible. The words leapt off the page, aligning perfectly with what I had seen. Grace, forgiveness, love. It was all there. The same Jesus who met me in the light was written in those pages. Finally, I confided in my closest friend, Yusuf. "I need to tell you something," I said one evening over tea. With hesitation, I described my heart attack, my out-of-body experience, and my encounter with Jesus. He looked at me in disbelief. "Karim, you've always been a man of faith. But this, it sounds impossible. Maybe it was just a dream." I shook my head firmly. "No, Yusuf. This was more real than anything I've ever known. I saw heaven. I saw hell. And I saw him. Jesus is not just a prophet. He is the Son of God. He is the way silence hung heavy between us. I could see the conflict in his eyes, skepticism battling against the knowledge of my sincerity. Finally, he sighed. I don't know what to say. In the weeks that followed, I began sharing cautiously with others. Some dismissed me outright. Others listened but wrestled internally. A few, just a few, leaned in with curiosity, asking questions about grace, salvation, and the love I'd encountered. One evening, I gathered a small group of family and friends. My heart pounded as I stood before them, recounting every detail, my collapse, the light, Jesus' words, and the visions of heaven and hell. Some walked out, shaking their heads. Others stayed, their faces troubled but thoughtful. Not long after, my mother came to me privately, tears in her eyes. "Karim, she whispered. This is hard for me. I don't understand, but I see something different in you. A peace I cannot explain. I held her hands, my heart breaking. It's not me, Mother. It's him. Jesus. The road ahead was not easy. I lost friends. I faced suspicion. Some in my family pulled away. But at the same time, doors opened. People who had quietly harbored doubts came forward. Former Muslims, Seekers, Christians from Muslim backgrounds, they reached out, and we shared stories of encounters with Jesus. I realized I wasn't alone. As time passed, I began speaking more boldly, not just privately, but publicly. I spoke of love, devotion, and truth. I showed how even the Quran contained prophecies pointing to Jesus as the Messiah. I built bridges instead of walls, not dismissing my past, but showing how it led me to him. And through it all, one truth remained unshakable. Jesus was with me, just as he had promised. Today, my life is no longer about striving to earn salvation. It is about walking with him, trusting him, and sharing his gift of grace. The path has been both beautiful and painful, filled with joy and loss, but I would not trade it for anything. If you take nothing else from my story, let it be this: seek the truth. Ask the questions you've been afraid to ask. Open your heart. Jesus will meet you where you are, just as he met me. And when he does, you will know, beyond any doubt, that he is not just a prophet. He is the way, the truth, and the life.